So what is it that really gets you out of bed in the morning? What fuels your biggest ambitions? And more importantly, why does that fuel sometimes just run out? Well, that's what we're going to dig into. We're going to try and decode the very engine of human action by unlocking the motivation code.
Look, we've all been there, right? You start a new project, a new workout plan, whatever it is, with this massive burst of energy. And then, a few weeks in, that fire just kind of fizzles out. It's a totally universal struggle. So what gives? Why is it so hard to keep that drive going? That's the big question we're tackling today.
Okay, so before we can figure out why motivation is so tough to hang on to, we probably need to get on the same page about what it actually is. So let's pop the hood and unpack this engine that drives us.
The name itself actually gives us a huge clue. Motivation comes from the Latin word movere, and it literally just means to move. And really, that's what it all boils down to. It's this internal psychological fire that gets us to act. It's not something you can just force from the outside.
And I love this idea from Michael J. Judicus. He talks about it as pushing the right button to get the result you want. It makes you think of motivation less like some mysterious feeling and more like a specific switch you need to flip. The trick, of course, is that my buttons are totally different from your buttons.
All right, so if we've all got these unique internal buttons, how does the whole system actually work? Well, it turns out it's not as random as you might think. There's actually a surprisingly predictable cycle to it all.
And this right here is a really big shift in thinking. We've got to stop seeing motivation as this fleeting feeling that just comes and goes whenever it wants. It's way more like an engine, a continuous six-step cycle that, once it gets going, is always powering our behavior behind the scenes.
So check this out. It all kicks off with an unsatisfied need, right? Let's say you really want some recognition for your work. That desire creates a feeling of, tension. And that tension becomes the drive that pushes you to start searching for a way to fix it. So maybe you volunteer for a big, important project. You nail it, you get the praise you were after, bam, the need is satisfied. And what happens? The tension goes away. It's this super logical loop that just keeps going over and over again.
Okay, but here's where things get a little more complex. If motivation is our engine, well, not all engines run on the same kind of fuel, do they? There are a bunch of different motivators that can power that cycle.
Our source material actually breaks it down into 7 core types. You've got achievement. That's for people who just love hitting goals for the sake of it. Then there's affiliation, the need to feel like you're part of a team. Competence, that desire to get really good at something. Power, which is all about influence. Your own attitude can be a motivator. Then you have incentive, the classic carrot on a stick. And last but not least, good old fear.
Now, let's just look at 2 of these that are basically polar opposites, fear versus achievement. Fear gets you moving, for sure. Think about a crazy deadline breathing down your neck. It works, but it's usually just a short-term fix. Achievement, on the other hand, is the long game. It's that inner drive to get something done just because it feels good to accomplish it. You could say one is a hard push and the other is a steady pull.
Okay, so we've got the what, the how, and the different flavors of motivation, but so what? Why does any of this actually matter in the real world? What's the payoff for understanding all this? The payoff is huge. Seriously, for people and for companies. When people are motivated, you see negative attitudes flip into positive ones. Performance and efficiency, they go way up. It's how organizations actually achieve their big goals. It creates this awesome, supportive work environment where people want to be. And here's a big one for any business, it stops your best people from leaving.
I mean, just look at the numbers here. The difference is night and day. An unmotivated team, maybe they're giving you 40%, but a motivated team can hit 95%. That gap, that's everything. It's literally the difference between winning and losing. So yeah, motivation is not some fluffy, nice-to-have thing. It's an absolutely crucial driver of results.
All right, let's wrap this up and start putting all the pieces of this motivation puzzle together.
So, what are the big takeaways? First, remember, motivation is an inside job. It's a psychological thing. It can be positive, like chasing a reward, or it can be negative, like running from fear. And maybe the most important thing is that it's super complex. There's no one-size-fits-all solution here. It's this dynamic, ongoing cycle.
And this quote really hits the nail on the head. We humans, we're never really done, are we? The second you satisfy one need, another one just pops right up. And that's exactly why motivation isn't some finish line you cross. It's a continuous journey. That engine we've been talking about, it's always running.
So, I'm going to leave you with this. We've gone through the whole framework. the cycle, the different fuels, why it all matters so much. But the last piece of the puzzle, well, that's on you. The real question is, now that you know all this, what's the right button to push to get your engine running?